Hello and welcome to another episode of Chestnut Checkers. I am Keith Riddle, as usual, here with my co-host Jordan Tampien. And today's guest is Rick Welliver.
Howdy.
Rick, good to have you here.
I know.
I've heard your name a million times. I've seen you at different events, but I don't think we've ever sat down and had a basic conversation.
Dismiss most of what you've heard.
Yeah, it's a 5% rule with Rick.
It's a 5%
Just
rule.
keep only 5% of it.
5% or you dismiss 5%? I'm not sure.
Dismiss the 95.
Rick, are you a Spokane native?
Yeah, I was born in Spokane and lived here for the first 7-8 years of my life. Then moved to Montana, came back, and in my early 20s kind of bounced around the Northwest, turned pro as a fighter. And 2001 decided to become a boxing gym owner.
So you are a professional boxer, just to clarify for the listeners that may or may not know.
I had 17 pro fights.
17 pro fights.
How'd you do?
Circa what year was this? 2001?
1996 to 2000, 1995 to 2005.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's 10 years.
Decade.
Yeah. As a pro fighter, were you strictly fighting in that period of time, or did you still work other stuff?
Oh, I worked other stuff. I worked as a bouncer at a few places in downtown Spokane.
And, seems a natural fit.
Started my nonprofit, kind of started to build that, and then kind of beat the drum of amateur boxing being an economic driver for Spokane and the nonprofit.
Yeah, your name is kind of synonymous with Spokane and boxing, for sure.
Appreciate that.
And for good reason, obviously. But what is that? Talk to me a little bit about what that journey looked like. So you were a fighter at a Spokane kind of local.
Well,
and was the Spokane boxing scene a big thing at that point?
No, it was dying. But Spokane used to be a really cool fight town, and it was just kind of dying. And there was just a couple of clubs, and I got this storefront down here on the corner of Sprague and Magnolia, and needed a place to train me and my brothers. I wanted to do one more pro fight. I wanted to go out on a win. And Northern Quest Casino said, we want you to be our guy.
Nice.
So it was a chance to make some quick cash, but I needed a place to train because the gym had been abandoned. So I got that space, and me and my brothers went in there, and the next thing you know, you got a kid outside looking inside the windows and get out of here. And then it's like, no, wait a minute. That was me 25 years ago. So yeah. And it was cool. And I didn't know anything about business, and I'm only now kind of learning about it, and 20 years later. And so we just kind of just winged it and went with it. And here we are years later.
Nice. So that reminds me of like a scene from Rocky or something.
Oh, it is.
Right?
100%.
Like some kid staring through
Should be a
the
movie
window,
at some point.
right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned your brothers. Are you guys your whole fight family?
Yeah. My dad never got the chance to compete as a pro. He had a prosthetic foot, but he worked out with a lot of pro fighters. My grandfather was a professional fighter. My great-grandfather was a professional fighter in Chicago.
Wow.
My grandfather was an amateur fighter. My great-grandfather was a professional fighter in Chicago. My dad was always around the sport, and then so you just kind of learned it. And we never were told we had to be into boxing, but it just happened that way.
Yeah. What time? Well, I said probably super young, but I mean, like when did they start you? Like,
I started going to the gym with my dad, and I was in diapers. My mom has photos of me at the boxing gym with gloves up to my arms, and standing there. The first gym I was ever in was right across the street from Perry Street Brewing in the Perry neighborhood. It was the Lilac. It was the Spokane Boxing Gym, the Perry Street Assassins. I think how that'd go over.
Name.
Yeah, I think how that would go over today in our politically correct
You might get
world,
canceled on that one.
especially in that neighborhood. It's, oh my God, assassins? What does that mean? Well, it's a nickname. It doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
But that was the first gym I was ever in 1975. And then went to Montana and started boxing. My parents divorced and came back here and had the high school experience up in Hilliard. You grow up in Hilliard, you have to learn to fight regardless, just walk down the street. And wanted to make some quick money. They were doing tribal casino boxing, and ESPN and Fox called and said, I was on TV a lot because I was exciting, which meant I had no defense. I was all offense. Yeah, so.
What was your record?
11-5-1 as a pro.
Yeah, as a pro. Yeah,
but
yeah,
as an amateur, I was 54-6.
Jeez. Wow. It's a lot of fighting, man.
A lot of fighting.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously you love the sport, but in the spirit of the show, Chestnut Checkers, me and Jordan kind of had this idea one day about, like, watching people in life that kind of play the long game and seem to be playing a different game, like Chestnut Checkers type thing. But when you look at fighters, like, specifically, I'm just curious, like, what do you think makes the difference between, like, a great fighter and a good fighter? Is it just sheer talent? Is it...
No, talent doesn't mean much
Really?
in boxing, to tell you the truth, and neither does athletic ability. It's all those things inside that you hear about, those cliches, you know, your heart, how bad do you want it, your toughness. You want to get a good indicator if a person, when you're watching boxing or when you're watching MMA, this is a little clue for you guys. Find out where these guys are from. You know when you see a matchup with a guy from Dagestan against a guy from Guatemala, those are two guys that came up tough. There's going to be a little more in them. You don't hear about a lot of great fighters from Beverly Hills. So character, heart, work ethic, those kind of things matter. So it's an incredible sport. It levels the playing field, which is hard to do in today's society.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to something you were talking about with it being an economic driver, because that gym you're talking about became 4 Degrees' first real office. And then you moved over to the west end of town. So I've always been following you around Spokane, basically. And so we've had this kind of run into you in the street on a lot of
collaborated
stuff.
for 4 years.
Yeah, and so it's been
Brickwest.
super cool. And I have actually seen it as an economic driver. But when that first came in your head, what was your vision of what boxing would do for Spokane, for instance?
I think it would shine a light on it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're a town that was connected to, Kevin Coe, and connected to Robert Yates, and connected to things that were
Negative.
not always on the not always on the positive side of publicity. We have a lot of things going for us here in Spokane, but I think when you can shine a light on a city that wants to actually cultivate and help its youth, that helps. I think it helps the image of Spokane, and I think we've helped that. So.
Yeah. And then boxing being visibility, outside people looking in, seeing Spokane has this boxing culture. Is that kind of what you're thinking from an economic development piece versus merchandise sales, which is really cool merch? But when
I got in where we're at now, down on First Avenue and Railroad Alley, your space was, they didn't really know what they were going to do with it. And I remember thinking, well, this needs to be a place where the public can come to and hear music and congregate, and kind of like Fairhaven over in Bellingham and different places. And so I thought, well, I could do a boxing event here and show our town off. Now you have inner city kids from Boise, the Tri-Cities, Montana. Well, there's no cities in Montana, but I mean,
the state.
The state. Kids that are on the bottom side of Advantage love coming to Brickwest.
Yeah.
So that helps our town.
That's not to drink, by the way. That's for the boxing event.
Yeah, for the boxing.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, for the boxing. And so it kind of shines a light on our town, and then people walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
The coaches go into the brewery, the kids walk around the neighborhood, they walk over to Riverfront Park, and they're like, oh, this is not the Spokane that I thought it was. And they're coming back. There's going to be 500 people on that deck again in a couple weeks.
Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to watch that piece. Another piece subtly that we found kind of having you guys in the neighborhood is just generally stays a little more clean, because the kids will be out running, training, kind of that activity around a space that if not activated would have been a blight, honestly.
Yeah,
so
it kind of livens things up. Boxing is a rare sport. You hear all the time, you're into athletics, I'm pretty sure you might be, but athletics builds character.
Yeah.
Really? Boxing reveals character.
Yeah.
And I think that when you realize you can do a sport like that, not saying it's a better sport. I played football. I wrestled in high school. Rogers Pirates, when they were the best in the state. Did track and field and stuff like that. All sports are great, but boxing is the rare sport that reveals character. When a kid realizes I can do this, he realizes he can do anything. I have a doctor that got a hold of me yesterday from Ballard, PhD, went through my program down here on Sprague. Said, you can't believe the things that I learned that help me right now in life, and blah, blah, blah. And So yeah, I boxing has always been kind of my love. I've always rooted for the underdog.
We talked about that like even early on in our podcast because me and Jordan both have young kids, and it's like the concept now as a parent of trying to like artificially create hard for your kids, right? Like, you know, if you've done okay for yourself in life, it's easy to spoil your kids, like, and not even do it intentionally, like unintentionally. They just don't have much resistance. They don't have much stress, right? And so you're kind of, as a parent, you're always like, you know, I'm trying to like artificially create these scenarios or situations to get them to have a little grit or to push through or to learn stuff about themselves. And so I think I was a wrestler growing up. I never boxed, but
Where'd you
wrestling
wrestle?
for me, Mead.
Yeah.
Cash Stone.
Oh yeah, the best. Ken Pello and Cash Stone.
Yeah,
went
actually,
into the
one of
Hall
my
of Fame
first,
together.
I was a freshman, and one of my first, I got pulled up to varsity, and one of my first dual meets was the rubber chicken. It was Mead versus Rogers, and I was scared out of my
Little brown jug.
Little brown jug.
Rubber
Right.
chicken is
Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark and Ferris.
Yeah, you're right.
Little
Sorry.
brown jug.
Little
yeah.
brown jug, and I remember that was it was a great experience. But for a 15-year-old kid, dude, to have that spotlight on you, and and it was at Rogers.
Right.
And that
Oh,
place
wow.
was jam packed, wooden bleachers, you know,
Yeah,
loud.
yeah.
The headgear just has this little hole in the middle, and I just remember it just sounded like static. I couldn't hear.
It was
like,
crazy.
shit. I couldn't hear Cash. I couldn't. It was just
A guy that I grew up with, Chris
You're just
Cofield.
looking
We were in
around.
the 8th grade. Chris Cofield took me to the Battle for the Little Brown Jug out at Mead. Me and Chris went to that, and I do remember thinking, and I was a basketball player, believe it or not, in junior high, and pretty good. And I remember thinking, if you wanted to have success at anything at Rogers High School as a male athlete, you either did track or you did wrestling back then.
Who was Rogers' coach? Because he was pretty renowned too.
Ken Pello.
Pello. Yeah,
Pello.
that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I want to be a part of something that's got a mystique to it. So I wrestled instead of played basketball, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
But those Mead guys they were so much, and they're cool, good guys.
Yeah,
But,
that was glory days for me.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's a really boxing and MMA and wrestling. Some of these sports that I think sometimes potentially get a bad rap, like
Sure.
public perception. It's you know, it's tough, it's brutal, right? It's battle, but it's so good for the competitors or for the
sure.
Yeah.
And there's sports that are getting forgotten about, especially by our city. You know, I've asked this question a few different times to some people at City Hall. We have the podium over here. We have that new stadium, and I love all that. And I love what's happening on the north side of the river in our town. How many low-income kids have access to that podium? How many kids from Hilliard? How many kids from the West Plains? How many kids from, you know, so which kids does our city really care about? That's just another shrine to the minivan driving soccer mom who can shuttle her kids around, throw an iPad in their face and a juice box and drop them off. But there's not a lot of low-income kids. Low-income kids are existing in my gym every day, and they're feeling included.
Yeah.
So that's where our city is still behind the curve.
So how do you, obviously, I can hear you have a passion for that, and rightfully so. But how do you get them involved? Like, how do you have outreach programs, or do you just insert yourself in those communities? Like,
My gym works with Excelsior. We've worked with Crosswalk. We've worked with Daybreak. I'm working with. We just did a 5-week pilot program with District 81, and there's an irony to that, and it's a pretty good story. We can circle back to if you want to, but District 81 came to me and said, "Hey, we have this thing going with kids," and it was me and the principal of Stevens Elementary, one of the low-income schools in the area, brought in a bunch of broken home kids to my gym, and it was successful. It was incredibly successful. District 81, for the longest time, didn't like the idea and sat me down 15 years ago and said, "Why are you teaching kids how to fight?" I said, "Well, I'm not. I'm teaching them how to box." And this is when a lot of kids, the bullying thing was kind of big in the news. And well, you know that both kids, if they actually defend themselves, you realize that both kids will get suspended.
expelled,
Well,
yeah.
the problem might go away then.
suspended, yeah.
You know, well, we don't encourage that. And I had to explain to District 81, I realize you don't encourage it, but I'm not cashing paychecks from District 81, so I can give a shit what you like or what you want, you know. And now I'm cashing paychecks from District 81 because
That is the irony.
they see the value and a kid feeling important and feeling like he's included. And boxing is a sport that any kid that's on the bottom side of advantage, whether it's a girl or a guy, can come to and feel like they're included.
Yeah, and it's not even to like exclude the rich kid or the families that are brought up. It's also to connect those kids.
Yeah,
right?
I want them all.
A lot of those kids, you know, if you have a more privileged lifestyle, like connecting with a kid at the gym who doesn't, but just making that connection might be a connection you never otherwise made. You know,
Yeah.
So it's not for just either or. But I love the approach, and I think like you just can't say enough about what it teaches them, and like I think that messaging is, if anything, is the one that get across, is that it's not about fighting. It's about a skill set and learning.
It's making a kid feel like he's, you know, boxing is, it's a skill set, but it's making a kid feel like he's included more than anything. You know, at Brick West last year, we had some people in the crowd that were kind of, and I don't know if I can use his name or not, but he's a pretty prominent, well, I'll just say Bobby Brett. Yeah. He loved what we were doing in our program, and he's a big supporter. But it's bringing people that have never seen boxing on the amateur level and watching these kids feel proud and feel like they're on a stage and feel like they're included, that we're not doing enough of. I mean, 90% of the kids you're going to see at the event at Brick West are going to be kids that are piling into a van and going back to Richland and going back to Tacoma and going back to Kalispell, Montana. And, you know, they're not even going to get to spend the night in Spokane, but they're going to get a chance to feel special and feel like they're a part of something. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
So when you got people that are in a position to kind of move things, Jordan, Bobby, these kind of guys, you know, these guys that they see the big picture of how it not only shows our town off, but how it makes a kid feel like he's special. They get involved. The sport and ultimately our town is going to rise because of it.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think you do a good job of that. The equation I had too was Lumen High School. So we let them use our conference room as Sean was building it, and they would show me these places of where they wanted to go, and some of them were out in northeast Spokane, and I'm like, how are people going to get to that?
Yeah.
And they would go around, and then finally we found them the old Spokane Community College building right downtown with buses and stuff, and it was really cool to see the first day, because one thing you do really well is they came in and they didn't feel like it was a second-hand school. Like when they come to this boxing event, it is the main event, and every person feels like they're boxing in the main event. I mean, we'll have 500-600 people there, and it's so cool how you do that. And I think too many times we give access, but without that net effect of making the kid or the people feel special enough. And it's that like one moment in their life where they'll feel that, and that can make the difference in the world. And so now you're watching the success of Lumen High School. You're watching some of these boxers go on the next step. You're watching people come to this and watch the effect on kids, and then now do something. And say,
I want to help.
And so I think of it a lot like dropping a rock in the water. It's like one of those events you drop it, and then these ripples keep going out further and further, and you're watching things be changed. And so I'm super proud of how you did it and went about doing it. And I know sometimes
you've helped us.
Oh, I mean, that's the space was there. Just
to highlight, you guys are talking about a specific event that you guys do at Brick West. Is it outside in the courtyard area?
Yeah, Brick West Boxing.
Is it one ring or multiple rings?
One ring.
One ring.
Yeah, and it's perfect. It's compact.
It's perfect.
It's tucked in there. And we bring a lot of white collar sponsors to the event, and they're like, "Hey, I want to get involved." And then they're meeting these kids. I mean, it was the coolest thing to watch Bobby Brett and George Renner and Doug Sidaway, hobnobbing with these kids and getting an idea of what they're doing and being entertained by it, and then contributing to it.
Yeah, for sure.
So
what you said it was about 6 hours of boxing.
Well, right now we have 30 bouts planned, which is a lot because people want to come to Spokane now. What really?
Yeah.
And they want to rent rooms, and they want to eat in our restaurants, and they want to spend the night, and they want to wake up and eat breakfast and walk around the town. So we've never had this many bouts pre-planned before a Brick West event. Now everybody wants to, and we got canceled out in June.
Yeah.
We were moving the event a week up because heat became an issue in July. Yeah. We always did it in July.
Super hot.
We got rained out in June and thought, oh, well, let's just move it to September. because we can't have these events in August anymore. I used to do most of my outside events when I do stuff in the region at the Polo Club or at Silver Mountain or in Silver Valley in August. And now we can't because of smoke and heat. July's now become heat. So June and September are kind of good months, because, global warming's a hoax and things are getting hotter.
What's the name of the event?
Brick West Boxing.
Yeah.
The Brick West Boxing. And when is it?
September 6th.
September 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when this is released, it'll be that Saturday to come down. But it has been pretty cool. And then I like how you've kind of transformed. I mean, it's been such a staple in the community. What are some of the biggest differences you've seen from starting it and what Spokane was like to where you're at now and what Spokane's like, from either a political, from a economic, to any kind of driver that you've seen there?
Well, you see. Well, quite frankly, I don't have the ability to turn on the editing button, but you see other businesses that want that event.
Yeah.
And they're willing to try to poach it away. No, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. And they know who they are.
Yeah.
And they know I know who they are.
And I know who they are.
Yeah. And it's just,
I have no idea who they are.
and we'll talk about that off camera. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we have a wow, this is really happening in this neighborhood, and there's 5, and my God, they're buying our product and drinking it and that kind of thing. And can you do that at our place? Well, maybe, but I'm not going to give this one up to.
It's my biggest knock on Spokane, that I'll let you finish, is that we're just such a late adopter city. Like, it's half the reason I get as much flack as I do, is we'll go try it, right? We'll go invest, we'll put the money in, we'll create the event, and then all of a sudden it works, and everybody's like, oh yeah, you should, obviously that worked. We should have done that the whole time. And they're like, you missed all the risk. You missed every piece of it. And I said, I don't mind the risk. I think it's worth us sitting down.
That's well said. And the other thing, too, it's like, it's not only did they miss all the risk, but did you forget me kind of beating on this drum for the last decade? Yeah. Like, really? Like, you've Google my name. Yeah. How many times have we talked about this in the newspaper or on, during a news event? Jordan got it right. Said, let's do this. Yeah. Now other places want to get it right. And I'm okay to share that. Yeah. But any city that wants to be taken seriously has to take its youth seriously, especially its inner city youth. Yeah. And our downtown core is happening right now. Yeah. What's happening on the north side of the river, and especially in our downtown core, is incredibly relevant. But every other town that's like that, Spokane certainly wants to be like. And I'm gonna shit on Spokane a little bit because it's behind the curve. They pick up on things a little later. Yeah. We have all these city leaders that want us to be Seattle. You know what they're doing in Seattle when I sit down with our city hall people? I don't care what they're doing in Seattle. Yeah. You don't represent Seattle. I want you to represent Spokane. Yeah. What are they doing in Boise? I want to know what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
Well, and
because Boise's got an incredible... I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, and I'm passionate about this. Our town is catching up to things too late. Period.
Well, it's because we need... What the point is I believe they need to know it works.
Yeah,
or we're adopting poor policy that's from cities that have a lot bigger problems and just mimicking poor policy.
Sure.
It's like, they're doing this in Seattle or Portland, and it's like, is it working? Have you been there lately? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You just want to do it. It's like monkey see, monkey do, and I'm like, I don't know if that's the best idea.
Yeah. Any town that wants to be taken seriously has an inner city youth program, whether it's a Boys and Girls Club. What does Spokane do? Put its Boys and Girls Club. Is it still way up north?
Yeah, it's way up north.
Why? Yeah. I didn't realize there was a lot of at-risk youth roaming the streets up north.
Colbert.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But that's
Mead guys.
That's classic Spokane. Let's propose a light rail for our town and be taken seriously, and then we're just going to run it past the community college. Last I checked, we had the biggest metropolitan area in North Idaho, just 30 miles out. Why don't we run it all the way through the valley to? Yeah. We always seem to package things wrong, get it wrong the first time, get it wrong the second time, and then we're going to package it the third time and get it to you. How many times did that stadium have to be voted on to get where it's at now? Yeah. Think about that.
It failed twice.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Third one finally got it there.
Why are we the town that's always catching up?
Yeah, I think and after going through this of seeing what happens when you fail, I can see why people don't want to take the risk.
Right.
Like, you look at it, and we could look at the Walt doing the Davenport. Mm-hmm. Well, what if that wouldn't have turned around and downtown would have been down there? We're like, well, look at another man failed trying to get downtown. Right. And I feel like we're so much more on the side of bringing somebody down than lifting them up.
Sure.
And so this town doesn't encourage you to take risks. And if I would have known that, rather than being a Moses Lake farm kid coming to town thinking you could go change the world, I was like, there aren't a lot of people that go take those risks. Like I think of the Peyton building. The one building I would have given back. But if I do it right, which I will, and get it done,
and you are,
it's like it will be a staple that's there. But then in between, my site got shut down because there was that stabbing in the park. And so my lender dropped my loan by $3.5 million because vacancies, according to our paper, vacancies up downtown and violence is up. And they're like, hey, we'll still do the loan, but they're from New York. They don't know the difference.
Right.
And so, and all of a sudden it's closed down. And then now there's a news article that Jordan's messing up again because the road's been closed for 2 weeks longer than anticipated with no activity. And I'm like, guys, this makes nobody want to take a risk.
Right.
And like we should be like, hey, guys, is there a way to support it because we have somebody taking a risk? It doesn't have to be for me. It could be any entrepreneur of like, hey, why don't we do brand openings and we do flood people's businesses with new people? And it's like, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no, they made it. And like, well, in spite of you, I will make it.
Right.
I will create the patent in spite of everyone.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they're like, well, I told you it'd work. No, you didn't? So I'm keeping every article because I'm like, because at the end when it's leased up and we do what we're about to, I'm like, they'll be like, oh, well, of course you did it downtown. I mean, you knew downtown was coming. I'm like, nope.
Well, here's the thing. Come to the event. Come to Brick West Boxing. This was our thing 5 years ago, and COVID derailed it for a year, 2 years. There's never been that many people on that deck, you know. And I went round and round with your guy about this, but you know, there's never been that many people on the, and it's really. Yeah, and you know the coffee shops in the area are like, yeah, we got a bunch of people. We had a team come in here and eat breakfast, and okay. Wow. Jerry Dicker's like, hey, we just rented out about 6 rooms to the guy at the Indigo.
Oh,
you know, that he's like, hey, we are what's going on? We're having a boxing. Yeah. Oh, you mean people are actually sticking around and renting rooms and buying rooms and eating and this is all coming from a boxing event.
Yeah. And I think
you got to see it.
Yeah. I agree. And I think the big mistake is we think everything has to be Hoop Fest.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Hoop Fest. It can be these micro events or these small events that just keep driving positive attention.
A neighborhood.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, Hoop Fest is rad.
It's super cool. Yeah.
Hoop Fest is rad.
Bloomsday is rad.
But it's like Spokane, unless it's a big event like that, we don't go out for it. And that's why I think the boxing one's just a good example of, wait, it doesn't have to be this like...
I'm the opposite. I don't go out for the big events. I go out for the
I leave town. I go to Sandpoint for Hoop Fest. I go to Sam because I don't play basketball. I love the fact that I'm a boxing gym in the back end of a building bordering an alley. People aren't walking by wanting to join my gym that are coming here for Hoop Fest, but I love it.
Yeah.
And our town knows about it. I just got back earlier this summer from Dublin. And some folks in Dublin went to Dublin, Liverpool. Some folks from Dublin next year are going to come play in Hoop Fest. And they asked me about it because they saw the Spokane boxing. Hey, that's where Gonzaga is. I'm like, well, Gonzaga. And it's one of those things where our town is attached to Hoop Fest, thank God. Yeah. And it's attached to Bloomsday, thank God. Yeah. But there are smaller entities and communities in the Northwest that are finding out that, there's this place in downtown Spokane that's doing boxing where you can sit outside and, have a pint of really good beer and in the sun and watch kids feel like they've ruled the world.
Yeah.
So, that's more that for me. That's what it's about. It's putting a kid on, giving a kid. I realize I'm talking too much, but I'm very passionate about this.
You're the guest, man.
But I'm very passionate. Boxing is a really special kind of magic. I love soccer. I love basketball. I love football. I like to watch kids compete. But boxing is a little different than most sports. It's not better, but it makes a shy kid feel confident. Mm-hmm. It makes a weak kid feel strong. Mm-hmm. It makes a loner feel like he's a part of something. He's included. A kid that's been excluded. How many? When you get around that kind of atmosphere, it's addictive. And then all of a sudden you see a kid talking about, I want to be a fireman, or I want to own my own business someday, or I'm going to start a lawn care business, right? It opens kids, it rips them wide open and shows them off, and then they're like, oh, the world sees me, I can go do something different. And they do,
So I'm imagining like your curriculum, especially the type people from the inner city side of, includes more than just boxing technique. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things you do on mindset, which I'm assuming you have to do quite a bit of?
Show up on time.
Yeah.
Turn your phone off.
Be present.
Nothing bad has ever come from shutting your mouth and listening. Shut your mouth and just listen. Okay?
Write that down.
You know, nothing bad has ever come from shutting your mouth and listening.
I need to think about it more, but I'm like, maybe has it? I don't know.
You know, but nothing bad has ever come from that. And when a kid just listens and he sees, and then we have this totally cliche term, you know, an aha moment. Mm-hmm. Happens every day in a boxing gym. When a kid doesn't quite get it and you explain it to him this way, he still doesn't quite get it, the technique. You show it to him. So I've told him, shown him. He's hearing it. And then you move a kid. And I learned this. I had an aha moment because of a kid a while back. I said, this is how I want you to move, rotate your hip. And I put my hands on him. And he goes, Coach, I feel that. That was kind of an aha moment. Like, each kid learns differently. I can watch it. I can hear it. I can vocalize it. But some kids got to feel it. They got to feel the motion. Mm-hmm. And it was that moment where it's like, oh, this is something I can add to my war chest of tools to teach a kid. Some kids got to feel it. They got to feel the motion. And those things that happen in my gym, they're profound, because then all of a sudden the kid starts searching for something new.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you're putting together so many pieces of the puzzle for that kid in those moments, right? Like, they're learning about how they learn, but they also are learning. There's a difference between being told something and experiencing it, but also that term that you use, feeling it, right? And I think back in my wrestling days, like Cash Dunn he called it chain wrestling, but he always said, hey, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah. But wrestling's a very feeling-based sport. Like, I'm not visually always seeing my opponent's footwork, but as I'm pulling or pushing on it, I'm feeling it, right? Yeah. Like, I'm feeling their weight shift. I'm feeling my own. And so, like I said, there's a lot of moves. You do your first Granby roll, or you do it's like, when you nail one, you're like, that felt different. Mm-hmm. Like, I felt their weight shift. I felt my weight shift. It's like, but you remember that, but I'm like, visually, I still couldn't tell you what it looked like when I did it. Yeah. You know, I'd have to watch some film of somebody else, you know, but that's how you learn. And so there was always, like I said, those aha moments. But I think those transcend into also in life when, like, somebody's telling you things. It could be math, it could be reading. It's like, but there's someone's telling you something that you're trying to learn, and you're like, man, I'm the kind of person that just needs to get in and do it. I need to feel what this feels like. I need to know what it's like to do whatever the thing is. So it gives them that confidence, it gives them perspective. They learn about themselves, they learn about how they learn, and I think it just transcends so many other things. And I love this conversation, but it's like, you own a boxing gym and you were a professional boxer, and we haven't talked much about boxing at all, right? Yeah. We're talking about community, we're talking about kids, we're talking about lifting people up, we're talking about feeling, we're talking about learning.
Boxing is a tool to get a conduit to get a kid to doing something differently. Yeah. I get letters from Walla Walla State Penitentiary. Coach, I thought about something you said. When I get out, I want to come back. Okay, you can come to your community service at the gym. Yeah. You know, I thought about something that you said, or the lessons. It's like, okay, you still remember it. It's not too late. Let's get to work. Yeah. And so these lessons, even if they grab these kids later in life when they're at rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. So come help me teach it. Come teach that lesson to somebody else. We are failing our youth in this town miserably, you know. But Spokane, boy, we sure want to be like Seattle. We sure want to be like Portland. No, I just want to be the best Spokane we can be. We are failing our youth. We are failing our homeless population. We're failing our mentally ill. But it's a place where they can all come. My gym is a place where they can all come and feel included. I had 2 homeless people, shower in my gym this morning. You know, so service to others is basically
a foundational principle for what you're doing.
Service to others is the rent that we pay to occupy space here on earth. Period. So you have to, you know, that's not me. That's actually Muhammad Ali. But, you know, it's, at what point do you go, all right, I'm not doing enough. You know, I'm not doing enough. I'm going to leave this world knowing I did something for somebody. And we got to find a way to as a city to cultivate that and harness it and make it a big deal. And at the end of every Brick West boxing event, it's like, okay, this is done. Okay, we're done. And it feels good, and everyone loves it. That's awesome. Can I get tickets for next year? Can I get a sponsor table for next year? Like, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, one of the things that I've been, I think I heard it from Tony Robbins. This is a long time ago, but one of the things I've been thinking a lot about lately too, because I deal not necessarily so much with kids, not that I'm opposed to it, but this makes me want to get more involved. But I deal with a lot of adults in a coaching or a mentor relationship, and when you see similar things, right, with the adults that are middle-aged, and you see these common threads of anxiety or depression or self-worth issues or confidence issues. And these are adults, right? And you think to yourself, like, how do we get here? How do you break these things, especially when it's somebody's been carrying around years of anxiety or depression? And one of the things, I think it was Tony Robbins that I heard say it a long time ago, was if you don't want to feel anxious or you don't want to have anxiety, go help somebody else.
Yeah.
Go find somebody who's worse off than you and help them. And I promise you, you'll forget about your own problems for a minute, right? And it was like an aha. I was like, man, that's so, and it works. And it's so interesting. What you're talking about is like, we need to help these kids. And I'm also like, there's a lot of adults out there that have these chronic problems with, like, they would get a lot out of helping these kids and doing other stuff for themselves.
Right.
But when you have your own problems, sometimes you think, I don't have the time or the energy to go help other people. I've got all my own problems. So it's like, well, the solution to fixing your own problems or feelings of self-worth or all this stuff might be solved by going to help someone who's less fortunate than you.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, it would be, right?
Totally. And it's also self-gratifying. You feel good about yourself for doing that. It's a grind. I mean, it is a grind.
Sure.
Having a kid say this is something, having a kid say this is a place where I feel like I'm included, or I feel like I can do this, or pretty soon a kid walks in with his shoulders back after about a week and his chin up in the air and I can do this. My job is not done, but it's that little bit of something to give me like, all right, I'm doing the right thing.
Step in the right direction.
I've spent more time in the last 2 years in emergency rooms with kids that because of COVID, because of the world that we live in, where these kids, they think this is the truth. And so what they do is they get on social media and they start judging their lives compared to other kids. And it crushes a kid's self-esteem and a soul, and it's like, how do you explain to a 12-year-old, to a 15-year-old, to an 18-year-old, it's lying to you. That's not true.
Yeah, what you're
or to a
seeing
35-year-old,
not...
or to a 45-year-old, or to a 55-year-old. Like,
right.
It's just that version of. I agree.
It's not. It's when you have somebody that's constantly vomiting out how awesome their life is. First of all, their life is not that awesome. It's just not.
Yeah.
Because if it was, they wouldn't have time to just get on there and tell you about it. But we have to do more for our kids in this town. Period. We have to do more as a community in this town. I've coached kids through broken hands. I've coached kids through broken noses. But to sit at a psych ward of a hospital and try to coach a broken soul, that's tough.
Yeah.
And I did it just, a while back, last week. And it's, so those people are out there. It's taking somebody that feels like they're not included and just putting them in a position, okay, you're included. Now what's next? Mm-hmm. And our town is failing its youth. It's mentally ill. It's homeless miserably. Mm-hmm. I don't have the answers to it. I only control what happens inside of my gym. I can only control what happens collaborating with him to do events. But this is my mission. Mm-hmm. And I went sideways there on you, and I'm sorry,
no,
but
that's not sideways. It's real, man.
But it's I love all sports, but you want to come see people that are trying to achieve with nothing and no help. Come to a boxing gym. Gay, straight, girl, guy, black, white, young, old, cop, convict. Everyone's included in a boxing gym. Mm-hmm. You can't say that about any other sport because socioeconomics play a point. Play a big point in why maybe some people not be a part of this certain population. And there's not a more inclusive place in the world than a boxing gym, ever. There's only one ego in a boxing gym, and you guys are talking to him right now.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a democracy. It's a dictatorship that everyone is going to love each other and help each other, period.
And it's a tough political time. That's what I actually loved about a brewery. It's the best analogy I always have. I said the cool thing about a brewery is like it doesn't matter rich, poor, whatever it is. That pint's $7. There's no top shelf. There's no bottom shelf. Literally, that beer is the same for whoever comes in and pays the $7. And I think, working on pricing, I'm gonna have to come down with that one. But it's like I think one of the issues is it's so it's not coming down yet. But we're just gonna make the beer taste better.
Yeah. Your guys' pilsners and lagers.
Oh,
I love
Scotland crushes it.
Oh my gosh.
So
I'm not a hophead.
Yeah.
And so I'm a Pilsner lager guy, and you guys have always nailed it from day one.
Oh, and it's from started with Sam, went to Scotland, but the idea was like this flash forward, but because we wanted to create longer conversations. So you'll see IPAs on ours, but not a lot, because we want you to grab a beer and sit down and that's what we do. Sit down and chat for an hour and a half, not get drunk in an hour, but sit down and have conversation. I think what are some of the I agree. I think we're failing in several areas. Not that I'm coming with solutions, but what are some things, because you've seen it, you're in the conversations, you're doing those parts, but what are some things that if you could snap your finger for Spokane, what's some things you would do or implement or try that have been blocked or that Spokane's not doing?
I'd have a light rail in this town. Going to Dublin, going to Belfast, going to Liverpool and seeing the way that the outside communities are connected to the inner city core, I think that would be something that would help our town tremendously.
Yeah.
I do think that the stadium and the podium are a success for our town. I love what's happening. But we have to build our core and then radiate out.
Yeah.
And I think Boise's the model.
Yeah, I love Boise.
And so I think a light rail.
But they don't have a light rail.
They don't.
What about their model, outside of it's super clean and such an amazing town, would you say we need?
More mental health facilities.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe the population around, and I don't want to say, that, but maybe the population that surrounds Boise, Idaho, has got more of a moral compass. They take care of their mentally ill. There's more mental health facilities in Boise.
Yeah.
There's more wraparound services for people.
But they're like tougher on loitering. They're tougher on
What a concept! You want your tax-paying base to actually be able to do business.
Yeah, they're tougher on drug. I mean, like we've talked about it before, but it's like the homelessness issue. A lot of times it's a drug addiction issue and it's a mental health issue, right? Like those are two humongous driving forces, and when you don't put measures in place to treat those things, your homeless problem's always going to be a problem.
Yeah. How many years have we been asking?
It's not about a house.
How many sheriffs and how many chief of polices now are we going on consecutively that have asked for a new jail?
4 or 5.
Right. But we're not going to listen to these guys. That's who exactly we should listen to.
Yeah.
Our law enforcement they have to take on too many roles. You have to be not only a law enforcement officer, you have to be a peacekeeper, you have to be a counselor, and in some cases you have to be a parent to some kid that may be roaming the streets.
Yeah.
You're asking a lot of them, and you're not giving them the tools to.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know the process that goes into getting those things going, but how many police chiefs are wrong about us having another jail? How many sheriffs are wrong about this? They can't all be wrong.
Right.
No.
And our policies with our mentally ill, people say, well, it's addiction. Well, it's homelessness. Well, it's mental health. Well, two of those things go hand in hand. Addiction is mental health. Yeah. They're not different. They're not exactly the same, but they lead one into another. Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Which leads to homelessness and stuff like that.
Addiction, but addiction leads to mental illness.
I can't tell somebody that they can't hang around in front of my building doing nothing.
Right.
I don't have the right to do that, and we don't have the laws to enforce it. That's a little tough. Mm-hmm. I'd rather tell people, just come in, sit down, check it out. But I get tired of Spokane people thinking Seattle's the model. Yeah. When is the last time you were in Seattle?
Yeah. The hard part over there is they just have such big businesses that offset any of that stuff. Like
Also, they have a major tax base like Amazon.
That's what I mean. Like
and Microsoft, Starbucks, and they can't find a way to make it work because their policies have kept repeating them.
Yeah.
Huh. We don't have those kind of tax bases here.
Nope. Yeah, that's...
Well, what's interesting, and I love these podcasts for this reason, because I just sit here and like put pieces of the puzzle together, or like think. But what I'm noticing from this conversation and thinking about, though, is like, I hear you very humbly, Rick, saying like, I control my gym, or I control a few events, and I don't know what the answers are. But yet I also, from the outside looking in, I see you doing something to make a difference. I see you having a passion. I see you caring. I see you looking at what you do and doing so much more than just a boxing gym, right? But I think the solution is that there's 10, 15, 20, 100 people saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the solution is to all these problems. But if everybody just says, you know what, I don't know what the solution to all these problems is, the problem is that puts the onus out there for everybody else to say the same thing. And then you have these problems because everybody, even the leadership, like the mayor will tell you straight up, like, hey, I hear you, and that's a good complaint. Help me solve that problem because we don't have all the solutions. We need the citizens to help us solve the problems. Citizens are sitting out there looking at the leadership going, these guys aren't freaking fixing these problems. I don't know what the solution is, but this is a problem that needs to be fixed. So now you have this self-perpetuating kind of conversation of like, everybody's aware of the problems.
Yeah.
But we've all become cynical about them, and yet no one is really like grabbing the bull by the horns or championing the solutions. But I also get that because nobody does have the solutions to all the problems, and nobody knows what.
Then don't run for the office.
Well, I get that. But what I guess I'm circling up to, though, is I do see a solution here where you don't necessarily have to have the answer to all the problems, but if you can do something for your community like you're doing, like Jordan's doing, like I try to do, but like if you get enough people who go, yeah, I don't have all the solutions, but I can do this, and that's kind of cool, and that'll help these people, and someone else goes, yeah, but I can do this, and I think that's the solution. And I think you would actually solve a lot of the problems without anybody ever coming out and saying, this is the solution to solve all the problems. The solution is getting involved in your community, doing positive things, taking care of the people around you. And if enough people do that and you develop that culture, I think Spokane can be an amazing town. But it's never.
And it is an amazing town.
It is an amazing town. And I feel like we're talking out of both sides of our mouth here a little bit.
I agree.
I think we're just hypercritical of Spokane because we see some major things that we want to get fixed or changed. But that can turn very cynical. But the truth is, we all love Spokane.
Yeah.
And we all
I'm
see
not ever leaving Spokane.
humongous potential here. And there's also so much good here, right? Already. Not like potential good, but I'm like, it really is already awesome. So, I don't know. I appreciate what you're doing. And I do think that the solution to a lot of this is just more people like you controlling what they control and giving a positive contribution to their local community.
And I think one of the bigger ones is we have to own the problem, right? So what's I don't even know if it was a test, something, or a story, but there was the woman running down the street of Manhattan, somebody chasing her, trying to kill her, screaming for help. And windows would open, close, windows would open and close, gets stabbed, screams for help again, races down. 30 minutes later, ends up dying in the street. Well, the issue was everybody opened their window, heard it, but thought that somebody else was going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the issues. Like, so I take Brick West Plaza. I go over every Saturday and clean. I went over this morning, cleaned it. And what the issue is, it's like, well, Brick West Plaza's dirty. The grass is dying. We need to do something. And then you'd come over and you're like, yep, it's dying. We just need to do something. And then someone over here, yep, we need to do something. And what you're finally doing is like, then do it. Like, I almost had this concept of like, we just did adopt a block. Your whole thing,
I love
we have
that
50
idea.
people. There's 50 blocks probably. There's probably more than that, but 50 blocks downtown, and your only area was the block.
Right.
So every morning you went on a walk, you did one circle of the block and cleaned it up. There was graffiti, you cleaned it up. There was one, I'm like, that's how simple it'd be. They always say, oh, you keep Brick West so clean. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, I'm down there every day. Finally wrote my dad to help me mow it and clean it up. And, right. And I think one of the issues is we keep just saying it's a problem.
Yeah.
But nobody steps up to own the problem.
Yeah.
And then we have a town, and this messed me up, especially when we were doing great, and ended up getting a place of a priest, and I would leave every summer. And I'd come back in town long enough to be like, that's a problem. There's somebody sleeping on this corner, finish my work, and I'd head back up. And so kind of we made a conscious decision of like, nope, we got to be in town.
Yeah.
We got to put this all on the line to risk it and figure out how do we be a part of the solution, because I was just another guy from the cheap seat saying we need to fix that. Because you go talk to the mayor, she's not trying to solve the problem.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
But then it's objection here or it's something there. And I was like, well, maybe it starts with the Rick Welliver model.
Just
take one
control
block,
your space.
control your block. And it's not control like kick people out so no homeless person's ever there. It's like I finally stopped and I'm like, they have nowhere to charge. They're like, we have these phones, but nobody will let us charge our phones.
Yeah.
And I said, well, all I care about is just make sure you clean up your stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like if we can exchange this, you can use the power. And you can be here. You should be here. But like, just clean up your stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just this piece where it's just, we just think, nope. Like I even started doing, I'm like, no, put locks on the outlets, cover it up. Because heaven forbid, a mom and daughter drive by and see two guys with a shopping cart sitting there trying to stay out of the sun.
Yeah.
And so
it's that, take care of your block, but it's also that constant, like I said, sort of regurgitation of, well, downtown Spokane. No, downtown Spokane's fine.
Yeah.
We're going to make a big deal about one guy going out of business. You know? Hey, I got an idea. Don't serve food that's from, like, the ocean. You know? Maybe have a few employees that actually like you, you know? When you come to town with a sweetheart deal as being the 7th best chef on a reality TV show, and then you get a sweetheart deal from the landowner, and you still can't make that work and you want to blame it on Spokane, it's not Spokane's fault. You know, just make better food.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious who I'm talking about. Yeah. But you know, what about the businesses that are making it in Spokane? You know, your businesses. I'm in an empty building, a dead building, across from subsidized living, bordering an alley, within blocks of 3 or 4 different homeless shelters and or social services type things. And I'm making it. But because you're serving ceviche and you can't make it, Spokane, the entire downtown's got a problem. Our downtown does got a problem, but there's a lot of businesses that are actually getting it done. Yeah. And I think we need to applaud those businesses. You know, it's, I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah.
You come to a cattle town and start serving seafood, take a break. And wonder why lobster rolls aren't going to sell at $20 a pop.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I think, because I do know what you're talking about, but what I also think is that there's just risk in it, right? I think that's what we talked about when the article came about Brick West. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's just hard.
Yeah.
No matter how we go about this and try to skin it's just hard in general. And so instead of these articles about, hey, look at what failed, it's like, hey, this is where we need your help, town. This is Spokane. Mm-hmm. We need everyone needs to understand we need a downtown. It is our tax base. Mm-hmm. Downtown goes down. Every service across into all of Spokane goes with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So even if you live in Meade, you can't say downtown's not my problem. It is. It's everyone's problem, and everyone has to understand that. And I think that's where I struggle with it the most.
Town. That's where it all starts and radiates out from.
Well, not even just like that's just from a soul part or community. I'm saying financially it is.
Yeah.
You know what happens? So this, I think, don't quote me on this, but the wildfires in California burned it down. It more than exhausted their entire insurance fund. Mm-hmm. Well, how are they going to pay for it? They're increasing the taxes of every homeowner in California.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens when downtown goes down? Who do you think pays for it?
Yeah.
Every homeowner in all of Spokane County.
Right.
And it's like, why wait for it to get there? Mm-hmm. Let's find a way to support it. Let's not say it's unsafe. Let's find a way to make it safe.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the one where I'm excited. Like I watch like the soccer team.
Yeah.
Love it. Team's great.
Awesome
thing,
rad.
but it's like one little thing. Boxing club, another thing. You doing the cleanup over here, it's another thing. And I think if people were more encouraged, supported to go take that chance, I think that's where the biggest difference. And that was my biggest takeaway from the article is like, nope, this is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
I see a vision for it. I see how we can get there. You're going to get a lot of flack until you don't.
That, to kind of piggyback what you're saying there, yeah. What I do like about what's happening in our town, and there's a lot of things I like. We're becoming a town. When I go to Seattle, remember when you used to, like in the 90s, you'd go to Seattle and hear about, Queen Anne, and you'd hear about Capitol Hill, and, all these places, Pike's Place.
Real neighborhoods.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's people, from other towns that are like, yeah, I that Garland district up in Spokane is kind of cool. I'm like, oh, really? Did you go to the Prairie District? Yeah. Go check out Hilliard, buy home. Like, we're becoming a town of neighborhoods again.
Yes.
Which I think is very important.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch.
But become a town of neighborhoods, you have to have a core, which is your downtown. Mm-hmm. And I think we're heading in the right direction with all that. I mean, I'm optimistic about Spokane, but to be a town of neighborhoods, like you don't ever have to leave the west end of downtown. You got a bakery, you got great restaurants, you got great hotels, you got how many breweries we got now? 5 down there?
6.
Yeah.
I was just downtown last night actually with a buddy because my wife and kids went on a little staycation to the zoo type thing. And I was like, well, I'm going to go. Usually I would stay local, but I'm like, I'm going to go downtown. So I went to, what was the place? I'm like going to date myself here, but it's the old like Far West Billiards place.
Yeah, the Griffin Tavern now.
Griffin Tavern.
Yeah.
And great, by the way. Awesome.
Yeah,
it's really
Highly
cool.
recommend. But just like I have an office downtown. I'm down here on Sprague. I drive from North Spokane downtown every day, back and forth. I would say I'm downtown a lot for most people. More so than I would say a lot of my peers. And for a guy who is downtown, what I would say a fair amount and has an office in this, I was in awe of like the little places I didn't even know existed last night. I bet you I saw 5 places last night that I didn't even know existed. Being downtown for 3.5 hours.
Soulful Soups is down our
They
area.
just moved down there.
Yeah.
One tree spot.
And those guys are killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Soulful is down there. I mean, the Griffin Tavern, the Gilded Unicorn was down below. Whistle Punk, what is it? Marshall's was next to it. What's the food place next to Whistle?
No, Heritage.
Heritage.
Those guys do a good
They do
burger.
good. They do a good burger.
But so what I'm saying is like, if you haven't experienced downtown lately, or even like, go down and just walk around and see it. I mean, it is.
There's a bar called Jade, which is right next. It's in the.
Is it next to Soulful?
No. It's that's Garden Party.
Yeah,
which
is
really
still
cool.
really cool. It's like plants, and you go drink a drink.
Yeah, Katie's doing a good
it.
job there. But Jade is this little kind of speakeasy type spot in the Knitting Factory building, or what do they call it?
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. The west end of downtown has probably got the most unique, coolest business going that nobody knows about. It's called Spokane Boxing. It's called Spokane Boxing. It's one of the few places where everyone's welcome, everyone's invited, and you're going to see every person from every stratosphere and population going. So that's reason enough to
go check it out.
Yeah, we have wineries down there, we have breweries. I mean, there's no reason to leave the west end of downtown. And to piggyback that comment, there's no reason to leave Garland. Hilliard, my old neighborhood, is getting a vibe, a really cool vibe.
Yeah.
And Perry.
And I think it's when we stop looking for excuses. 'Cause I'm picturing downtown, we have low-income housing there, senior low-income housing, market rate housing on the west end of downtown, and it's still this investment. It used to be the worst area of town.
Sure.
I think somebody told me a stat. It was like one of the highest crime areas in like 1985. In the state.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those pieces where it just speaks to that point of like, all right, there's no excuse that there's a homeless or a visibility problem at the Rid Path. That's not an excuse. How are we going to work around that?
Yeah.
How are we going to build? I forget who did the Simon's Block, the building right next to it, and they did a great job.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
Owners of Bank of America, they're doing a great job cleaning it up. And I think it's just one of those where we sometimes look at the problem as too big to solve versus let's start with one building then. Start with one thing today you could do.
I agree with all of that. I do sort of have, I don't know how to word this.
Issues with policy.
Issues with policy. We took an entire city block in downtown Spokane and destroyed it.
Yeah.
And for whatever person, the biggest proponent of that, this person keeps jumping back into the political picture. Yeah. And I worked at the Rid Path when I was with the union early in my career. I was on every floor and every banquet room and at almost every room remodeling that. As a tradesman, as a painter, and then
it could have been cool.
Yeah,
it could have been so cool.
Could have been so cool.
It was a missed mark for sure.
Yeah. Just because it had that vibe, it had the layouts, it had.
Yeah. So this is the right thing to do for this block. Really? Is it? Does the owner of the satellite think that?
Oh no.
What about the sushi place across the street? Or really?
Yeah.
This was the thought process? This idea. Well,
When did that occur, though, too? That was right after the downfall, right? Was that 2010, 2011, 2012 in there? It was
the
like
wheels started turning around that. The wheels
crash
started
really
turning around that time.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it was like, I don't know if it was a play of strategy or if it was a play of like...
Well, it was cash.
Both.
It was cash. So
they were trying to do something. I felt like that was really, it was more of a desperation play. It was like, oh, we got to do something. This thing's sitting here vacant. We got an issue. And they're like, some idea was presented and then it got championed and it was just a bad idea.
Well, basically they had it market rate, and then what happened was I misquote the number, but I want to say it was like $2.5 million the city put into it in exchange for like 40 years of lowest income housing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am still a proponent of finding a way to house people and do all that, but we've just seen time and time again that it just doesn't work when you mesh those two pieces. So all of a sudden your market rate doesn't live as well.
But it's also not even good housing.
No, that
not even close.
Trust me.
Even good housing.
So you're not even ethical.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the whole thing. This model put a bunch of low income people into a big building in the middle of a neighborhood, a downtown.
In micro units that are not built for that, without laundry facilities.
That model has been, it was already created and it's already been experimented with. It's called the projects on the East Coast. It never worked. It's social engineering. Yeah. Social engineering does not work.
Yeah.
Big thinkers, people that can actually go, okay, this is the right thing to do. And even though I hate big government, the idea that maybe our county, maybe the city of Spokane Valley, and maybe Spokane itself can all come together and find find a solution to this problem.
Yeah.
But that was not it. You destroyed every business that is within a block radius of that place. Yeah. And it's horrible. That's not compassion.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard because the money's enticing, right? Peyton, in theory, could have accepted funds to make it even more affordable.
Sure.
But that, like, when we say that, it's like poverty level affordable, so 60% of AMI and less. And then we said no. And so what does that mean? It means you have to come out of pocket more to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big ones where I'm like, it's hard to fault the developer in that position. Hey, this is enough money where let's see if we can make this work. And I could see how you justify it.
Yeah.
But then like it just wasn't executed well.
Well, and like you said, it's going to be a long-term problem because of that 40-year timeline. So it's not something that really.
When you say 40-year timeline, what am I missing there?
So don't quote me on it, but basically, in exchange for the dollars, the city locked in X amount of units at a below market subsidized rate, basically. And I wanted to say it was like 30 or 40 years.
I heard it was a decade.
No, it's more than a decade.
Really? Okay.
Because I remember, I think Jonathan Malahan did it, and it was like, for the city, great. You just locked in 40 units of housing for $2.5 million or whatever it was. Don't quote me on any of the numbers or timelines, but it's something more than a decade.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, from the city standpoint, they locked in housing they needed. From a developer, I'm sure he sold it as, hey, look, these two will merge, and it'll be this new public-private partnership. We can show how we can remodel these older buildings, right? So in theory, as a pilot, you try it. It's just the ability to pivot in real estate, I'm seeing, is the biggest drawback of real estate. You don't get to pivot a lot. You're kind of tied to that. You're tied to that, whether you like it or not, until it needs it. But man, picture that building just completely redone. A restaurant down there, like it could be.
Did I ever tell you I never told you my vision for that? So forgive me for interrupting you. The right around the whole time the Rid Path thing was happening, and what are we going to do with the Rid Path? The Spokane tribe was trying to get land on the West Plains to have a casino to be able to compete with the other casinos.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, this is their land. Hey, let's take a city block in downtown Spokane, give it back to the tribe, and stimulate the area with a bunch of money. Here's your casino, and here's your place to stay for the night. Now, I don't know, but think about that. When I floated that, everyone told me just how dumb that was. All city people. Tribe liked the idea.
Oh, Tribe loved the idea.
And I had a contract with them. It was working with their youth. And it was just like, here's a gesture of goodwill. We could kill two birds with one stone by just doing this. Yeah. Boom. Wow. Give that back to the tribe.
That would have been a great idea.
Right. But what do I know? I'm just a boxing coach.
Well, me and Jordan have already come to the conclusion that we're never solving all the world's problems on this podcast.
As much as we want to try.
We're gonna make tracks where we can.
You guys are doing a good product here. You're doing a good thing. I've watched it. It's good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I was honored you asked, so thank you.
Yeah. Anytime. Been trying for a while.
Yeah. Well,
It's been a good one. It's
maybe I'll make my next political announcement, on
There
this
you go.
podcast.
well, and I would say to Keith's point, that's what's been kind of fun. It's just a platform because I actually have no idea if people listen to this thing, and so it's just kind of we get to talk through these high level ideas. Because even that city one, I think the city was doing the right thing. I think the developer was probably doing the right thing.
Right.
It just didn't forecast out far enough of what the worst case scenario could look like.
Yeah.
That's it. Like in my head, that was the miss. They didn't look past where it's not necessarily residents, but it's like, okay, the residents are likely going to want to smoke. Where are they going to go? Well, there's only one spot at the Red Path.
Yeah.
It's the front porch.
You got to have somebody that's willing to see around corners
Yeah.
or try to.
Yeah.
And we don't have that.
Yeah.
Well, and that was one of the conversations that we had with Luke or whatever a week ago. Was like some of these policies are done with good intention. They're just done by people without any tangible wherewithal for the fallout of that or the reality of that. You know, and it's, you see this. Obviously, we talk about real estate like we do it, but you see this in development all the time. I've done it in my own projects where like a project's done and you start to notice a problem and you're like, damn, like that was a miss. That was an oversight. Like we didn't think about like that was a bad spot to put the dumpster or that was it was like, it happens. But it shouldn't be happening the way that it's happening at the city's level with stuff like that to me, where I'm like,
because you should have known that. Like we did the Connexu Resort, and so I went up there. It's a cool place on Priest Lake. We're selling off townhomes, but I went up there and just literally we let some friends use the beach, and I'm watching and pull up with 4 buggies, and I'm like, okay, that's got to be in our HOAs. Can you have 4 buggies? So there's one. Pets come out of there. Hey, can you have pets on the beach? And so you literally have to put your mindset into, okay, these are all sold. Yeah. What in 5 years will somebody be super pissed about if I don't think of it?
Will it be a problem?
It will be a problem. And I was like, that's the difference of developing and building. Builders don't have to worry about what the net effect is.
They just
developers do.
Yeah.
And I
they
think
read the plans and build what
that's it, right?
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, they delivered what they were supposed to. I could deliver that, sell them all off, and be like, look, I don't own these. You guys deal with this mess. And I think sometimes the city's cyclical nature of our mayor turnover and stuff, and I think that's why under Condon we did so well too. A, he was really good, but then B, did it for 8 years.
Sure.
So you had
to make a decision year one that to live with in year 8. Like as a developer, that's why I think the best thing is we own a management company.
Yeah.
Like
So
I have to build I have to put a product in there that I have to manage for the next 10 years. So if I go cheap on the flooring or the sound, I know we're going to get complaints for the next 10 years that you can hear your neighbor through the wall. So what do? We build up the walls better, put sound bat and all that. And I think for most people that's not just developing, that's life. Like that ability to see 3 steps ahead.
Sure.
Before making that decision.
Like when you talk to
What's
old
coming?
people.
Yeah. Well, this could be coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you talk to older people, it doesn't matter. Like I grew up in a farming community. It's like, but when you talk to that old salty farmer who's 85 years old, like that's wisdom.
Correct.
That's what it is.
Correct.
They're like, they just see things differently because they're like, I don't know how that new electric gadget works, but I know if you keep doing that this is going to happen in 15 years and you don't see it because you haven't been around for 15 years. And so that kind of crystallized wisdom and knowledge, I don't know exists in our political
No, because you don't need to, because you don't have to live
world.
with it.
Well, and career politicians or people that get a politics, like a lot of times they step up. They go to the Senate, they go to Congress, they whatever. And so it's like the local small community politics a lot of times is a little bit naive and a little bit greener.
Yeah.
Well, it's and it's got to be much harder to navigate what's happening inside of your town than actually walking the halls of Olympia.
Yeah.
And those are 2 different things.
Yeah.
And I respect any politician that wants to run for the position, and I've been asked to. But if I ran, I'd win, and everybody knows it. But you're not going to want to hear what I have to say. Because whatever I'm optimistic about our town, but these things our policies are burying our town. Period. So.
Yeah, and that's all I'd say. Because I've talked to most of the councilmen, the mayor, and like the intentions. I think that's why I keep going back to it. The intentions are really good. It's just you're either scared to make a decision, or can't see around the corner of what that decision's gonna do.
Sure.
right? And so then you're just met by whoever's the loudest.
Yeah.
And you're trying to make decisions based on that. And all I've learned through this is the loudest is never the most right.
Yeah.
It's just but making a decision is key.
That I'm optimistic about Spokane. I'm going to keep doing my thing, keep coaching kids, I want to start putting on more events. We used to do events in Wallace, Idaho, revive the boxing culture up there.
Yeah, I still got to get up for there for one of those. I heard they're pretty awesome.
They're pretty cool.
Wallace.
Yeah.
I was just
boxing.
through Wallace last weekend. I love that town, man.
Yeah.
It's went through some big changes since COVID.
Yeah,
I'm not
cool.
up there no more, but I've been asked to come back and do an event, and I might.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on Spokane. I'm not good at being able to. I thought it'd be cool to have a club in another town and kind of work on another club. If I work on a club, I'm going to work on a club in the Spokane Valley and then also do in downtown Spokane. But boxing's, this is it. I'm going to ride this horse till the day I die.
I love that.
And Spokane's thankful for that. So.
Well, I hope so.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
And just before we sign off, just to get ready, and we'll put this in the notes as well, but talk about the event coming up September 6th, right?
September
Be
6th.
this Saturday.
Fireman's Park.
Yep.
Brickwest Brewery. Good day of, just a great day of boxing. It looks like we're going to have probably 5 hours of boxing there.
Do they need tickets?
They need tickets.
Where do they get tickets?
They can get them. I'm going to drop off some tickets at the front door. We've already pre-sold a couple hundred tickets to begin with.
Okay. And then is it standing room?
Standing room
seats?
only. Sponsored tables have been sold. If anybody else, we have about 4 or 5 sponsored tables left.
Okay.
Get a hold of me. Get a hold of Brickwest. I'm going to drop off some tickets. They've already pre-sold some tickets from behind the bar, or just show up the day of and buy it at the door. It's going to be cool. I mean, it's really cool.
And what time does it start,
It's going to start at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Doors open at 2 o'clock. Get there early. Get some real estate.
Cool.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, it's a really cool. It's just really cool to watch these kids have a stage where they can feel special.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks again, Rick.
All right, you guys. Thanks for listening to today's episode. While you're out there, would you please do us a favor and give us a like, subscribe, or a follow, whether you listen on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you don't mind while you're there, give us a 5-star review. Maybe write a review. If you have a favorite episode, feel free to give it a like. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.